Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome to this sacred space we're creating together today. I want you to know that wherever you are right now, whatever brought you here, you are exactly where you need to be. There's something so powerful about this moment when we choose to pause, to look at our relationship with money, and to open ourselves to the possibility that everything can change with just one simple shift in how we think. I know that many of you watching this may be feeling heavy about your financial situation. Perhaps you're lying awake at night wondering how you'll pay the bills, or feeling that familiar knot in your stomach when you think about money. Maybe you've been working so hard, doing everything you think you should be doing, yet abundance still feels like something that happens to other people, not to you. These feelings are so real, and I want you to know that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you for having them. For so many years, I struggled with my own relationship to money and abundance. I carried this deep belief that I wasn't worthy of financial ease, that money was somehow dirty, or that wanting it made me a bad person. I watched as others seemed to flow with abundance while I remained stuck in patterns of lack and limitation. The beautiful truth I discovered, and what I'm here to share with you today, is that our financial reality begins and ends with our thoughts. Not just any thoughts, but one core thought that runs like a program in the background of our minds, influencing every decision we make and every opportunity we allow ourselves to see or miss. This isn't about positive thinking or pretending everything is fine when it's not. This is about understanding that the thoughts we think today are creating our tomorrow's reality. When we truly grasp this concept and learn to shift just one foundational thought about money and our worthiness to receive it, everything begins to change. The shift doesn't require years of therapy or complicated financial strategies. It requires one honest look at what we believe about ourselves and money, and one courageous decision to choose a different thought. I want to create a space of love and safety here where you can look at your money patterns without judgment. We're not here to shame ourselves for past financial decisions or to beat ourselves up for the thoughts we've been thinking. We're here to lovingly examine what's been running the show and to gently choose something new. Your willingness to be here, to explore this topic with an open heart, tells me that you're ready for change. That readiness is everything. The most beautiful part of this work is that it doesn't matter where you're starting from financially, whether you're struggling to pay rent or you have money but feel guilty about it, whether you're terrified of spending or compulsively shopping to fill an emotional void, the same principle applies. Our outer financial world is a direct reflection of our inner money world. When we heal the inner landscape, the outer world has no choice but to respond. What we're going to explore together in this time is how one single thought, held consistently with love and conviction, can transform your entire relationship with money and abundance. This isn't about getting rich quick or manifesting $1 million overnight. This is about coming into right relationship with abundance, understanding that you are worthy of financial ease and security, and learning to align your thoughts with the prosperous truth of who you are. There's something almost magical that happens when we understand how deeply our early conditioning around money affects every aspect of our adult financial life. Most of the thoughts we think about money aren't even our own thoughts. They're inherited beliefs, passed down through generations like family recipes, except these recipes have been creating financial struggle instead of nourishment. Think about the messages that surrounded money when you were growing up. In most families, money conversations were filled with stress, worry, and limitation. Children absorb these emotional atmospheres like little sponges. Perhaps you heard phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that, or rich people are greedy. Maybe money was never discussed at all, creating an atmosphere where financial matters felt mysterious and scary. These early experiences with money created neural pathways in our developing brains. Every time we heard a stressed conversation about bills, every time we felt the tension in the house when money was tight, every time we were told that wanting things was selfish, these experiences were shaping our subconscious beliefs about what money means and whether we deserve to have it. The fascinating thing about the human mind is that it's designed to keep us safe by repeating familiar patterns. So even if those patterns aren't serving us, even if they're creating the very financial stress we want to escape, our subconscious mind will keep recreating these familiar scenarios because they feel safe and known. This is why someone can win the lottery and lose it all within a few years, or why we might sabotage ourselves just as we're beginning to experience financial success. But here's where the real power lies. These neural pathways, these thought patterns that were created when we were children, can be changed. The brain's neuroplasticity means that we can literally rewire our thoughts about money at any age. When we consistently think a new thought about money and abundance, when we feed that thought with emotion and repetition, we begin to create new neural pathways. Over time, these new pathways become stronger than the old ones. The beautiful simplicity of this process is that we don't need to change 100 thoughts about money. We need to identify the one core thought that's been running our financial life and consciously choose to replace it with a thought that serves our highest good. This one thought shift creates a ripple effect that touches every area of our financial experience. When we choose a new core thought about money, something profound happens in our body and energy field. Our posture changes, our breathing deepens, our nervous system relaxes. We begin to make different choices, notice different opportunities, and attract different experiences. This isn't mystical thinking, it's how the mind and body work together to create our lived experience. The thought we choose needs to feel authentic to us. It can't be something we're trying to force ourselves to believe. It needs to be a thought that, when we think it, makes us feel more expansive, more hopeful, more aligned with our true nature. For some people, this thought might be, I am worthy of financial abundance. For others, it might be, money flows to me easily and joyfully, or I trust myself to make wise financial decisions. Now comes the tender work of looking honestly at the story you've been telling yourself about money. This isn't about judging yourself or feeling ashamed of your current financial situation. This is about compassionately examining the beliefs that have been driving your financial choices and experiences. Most of us carry what I like to call a money story, a collection of beliefs, emotions, and patterns that govern how we relate to money. This story was written long before we had any conscious choice in the matter, and it's been playing out in our lives ever since. Some common themes in these money stories include the belief that we have to work incredibly hard for money, that there's never enough to go around, that wanting money makes us selfish, or that we're just not the kind of person who has financial ease. Your money story might sound like, I'll never have enough, or I don't deserve abundance, or money corrupts people, or I'm terrible with money. These thoughts feel so true because they've been repeated thousands of times in our minds. They've become the background soundtrack of our financial life, influencing every decision we make about spending, saving, earning, and receiving. The way these limiting thoughts show up in our bodies is profound. When we think thoughts of financial lack or unworthiness, our shoulders might tense, our breathing might become shallow, our stomach might tighten. Our body is giving us valuable information about the effect of these thoughts on our entire system. Conversely, when we think abundant, prosperous thoughts, our body opens, our energy expands, and we feel more aligned with possibility. There's often a deep connection between how we feel about our own worth as human beings and how we feel about our worthiness to receive money. If we carry beliefs that we're not good enough, smart enough, or deserving enough, these beliefs will absolutely influence our capacity to create and receive financial abundance. Money, in many ways, becomes a mirror for our relationship with ourselves. Some people grew up in families where money was scarce, and they learned to feel guilty about wanting anything. Others grew up in families where money was plentiful but came with strings attached, teaching them that receiving always comes with a cost. Still others learned that money was the source of all problems, creating an unconscious resistance to having it. The beautiful thing about this exploration is that once we become conscious of our money story, we can choose to write a new one. We can look at these old beliefs with compassion, understanding that they served a purpose in keeping us safe in our family system, and then consciously choose beliefs that serve our adult life and dreams. Take a moment to tune into your body as you consider your relationship with money. What sensations arise? What emotions come up? What thoughts start spinning? This information is so valuable because it's showing you exactly where your healing work needs to happen. Your body never lies about what you truly believe, even when your mind tries to convince you otherwise. Perhaps you notice that when you think about having more money, you feel excited but then quickly feel guilty or scared. Maybe when you consider your financial goals, you feel hopeful, but then hear a voice saying, "You're being unrealistic." These mixed feelings are completely normal, and they're showing you the exact places where your new thought needs to take root. The money story you've been living isn't your fault, and it's not permanent. It's simply a collection of thoughts that you learned. And any thought that was learned can be unlearned and replaced with something more loving and supportive. Your willingness to look at these patterns with curiosity rather than judgment is the first step in creating lasting change. What's truly remarkable about the human brain is how willing it is to change and grow throughout our entire lives. For many years, scientists believed that our brains were fixed after a certain age, that the neural pathways we developed in childhood were permanent. But we now understand that our brains have something called neuroplasticity, which means they can literally rewire themselves based on new thoughts and experiences. Every thought we think travels along neural pathways in our brain, like water flowing down well-worn channels. When we think the same thoughts over and over again, these pathways become deeper and stronger, making those thoughts feel automatic and true. This is why our limiting beliefs about money can feel so real and unchangeable. They've been traveling down the same neural highways for decades. But here's the beautiful part. When we consciously choose to think a new thought, we begin to create a new neural pathway. At first, this new pathway is like a tiny trickle of water trying to flow in a different direction. The old pathway is still there, still strong, still trying to pull our thoughts back to the familiar patterns. This is why changing our thinking can feel challenging at first. We're literally fighting against years of mental conditioning. However, with consistency and repetition, something amazing happens. The new neural pathway begins to strengthen while the old one starts to weaken from lack of use. It's like building a muscle. Every time we choose the new thought, we're making that neural pathway a little bit stronger. Eventually, the new thought becomes as automatic as the old one was, but now it's serving our highest good instead of keeping us stuck. This process isn't just happening in our minds. Our entire nervous system is involved in how we think and feel about money. When we're stressed about finances, our body goes into what's called fight or flight mode. Our heart rate increases, our breathing becomes shallow, stress hormones flood our system, and our ability to think clearly and make good decisions becomes compromised. In this state, we're literally unable to access our higher thinking and creative problem-solving abilities. Conversely, when we feel safe and abundant, our nervous system relaxes into what scientists call the rest and digest state. In this state, our brain waves shift, our creativity flows, our intuition becomes clearer, and we're able to see opportunities and solutions that were invisible to us when we were stressed. This is why people often say that money comes easier when they're not desperately needing it. When we're relaxed and confident, we're naturally more magnetic to abundance. The fascinating thing about our subconscious mind is that it doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. When we repeatedly think thoughts of abundance and financial security, our subconscious mind begins to accept these thoughts as reality and starts working to make them true in our physical experience. This isn't wishful thinking or fantasy. This is how the mind-body system is designed to function. Our thoughts create our feelings influence our actions, and our actions create our results. When we change our core thought about money, we automatically begin to feel different about our financial situation. When we feel different, we naturally begin to act different. We might find ourselves making different spending choices, pursuing different opportunities, or having different conversations about money. These new actions then create different results in our financial life. The key is understanding that this transformation happens gradually and gently. We don't need to force ourselves to believe something that feels completely untrue. We need to find a thought that feels like a stretch in the right direction, something that feels possible and hopeful rather than overwhelming or false. Now we come to the heart of this transformation, choosing the one thought that will become your new financial foundation. This isn't about finding the perfect affirmation or the most spiritual sounding phrase. This is about finding the thought that when you think it, creates a sense of expansion and possibility in your body and heart. The thought you choose needs to address your specific area of limitation around money. If your core struggle is feeling unworthy of abundance, your new thought might be something like, I am inherently worthy of all good things, including financial abundance. If your pattern is believing that money is hard to come by, you might choose, money flows to me with ease and grace. If you struggle with guilt around having money, your new thought could be, it is safe and good for me to prosper. The most important thing is that when you say this new thought to yourself, it creates a positive shift in your energy. You might not believe it completely at first, and that's perfectly okay. You're looking for a thought that feels like a bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. It should feel like a gentle stretch towards something better, not like you're trying to convince yourself of something that feels completely false. Some people find that starting with a softer version of their desired thought works better. Instead of, I am wealthy, which might feel too far from their current reality, they might begin with, I am open to receiving more abundance in my life, or I am learning to trust my worthiness of financial well-being. The key is finding something that feels authentic and possible for you right now. Your new thought should also feel emotionally resonant. When you say it, you should feel some sense of relief, hope, or expansion. If a thought feels flat or empty when you say it, it's probably not the right one for you. You want a thought that lights something up inside you, even if that light feels small at first. It can be helpful to try several different thoughts and notice how each one feels in your body. Sit quietly, place your hand on your heart, and say each potential thought out loud. Notice which one creates the most positive shift in your energy. Which one makes you want to sit up a little straighter or breathe a little deeper? Your body's wisdom will guide you to the right choice. Once you've chosen your new core thought about money, the real work begins. This thought needs to become as familiar to you as your old limiting thoughts were. It needs to be woven into the fabric of your daily experience until it becomes your new normal way of thinking about money and abundance. The most powerful time to work with your new thought is first thing in the morning, before your conscious mind has fully awakened and started running its familiar programs. Keep your new thought written somewhere beside your bed and make it the first thing you say to yourself when you wake up. Let it be the foundation upon which you build your day. Repeat your new thought while you're getting ready in the morning, while you're commuting to work, while you're doing routine tasks. The more you can integrate this thought into your daily routine, the faster it will become your new mental habit. You're essentially retraining your mind to default to this new supportive thought instead of the old limiting ones. When the old thoughts arise, and they will, treat them with gentle firmness. Don't fight against them or judge yourself for having them. Simply acknowledge them and then consciously choose your new thought instead. You might say something like, "Thank you for trying to protect me, but I'm choosing to think this way now," and then repeat your new thought. Mirror work is one of the most powerful tools for integrating new thoughts about money and self-worth. Look into your own eyes in the mirror and speak your new thought with love and conviction. This might feel uncomfortable at first, and that's completely normal. The discomfort is showing you where your healing needs to happen. Keep practicing this with patience and compassion for yourself. Journaling can also support this transformation beautifully. Each morning, write your new thought at the top of a page and then write about how you want to embody this thought during the day. Each evening, reflect on moments when you felt aligned with your new thought and moments when you noticed the old patterns trying to reassert themselves. This practice helps make the unconscious conscious and accelerates your transformation. When resistance arises, and it will, remember that this is a normal part of the process. Your old thought patterns served a purpose in your life, even if they weren't serving your highest good. They kept you safe in some way, and your psyche might feel nervous about changing them. Be patient with yourself during this process. Change happens gradually, and every small step forward is worthy of celebration. Creating a supportive environment for your new thought is also important. Surround yourself with books, podcasts, and people that support your new way of thinking about money. Notice what you're consuming mentally and emotionally throughout the day, and choose inputs that reinforce your new beliefs rather than the old ones. The beautiful thing about this work is that you don't need anyone else's permission or participation to transform your relationship with money. This is something you can do quietly and consistently, and others will simply begin to notice that something has shifted in your energy and your approach to life. Your new thought will begin to radiate from you in subtle but powerful ways. As you begin to consistently practice your new way of thinking about money, you might notice that the world around you seems to push back against your transformation. This is one of the most challenging parts of changing deeply held beliefs, and it's something that catches many people off guard. When you start thinking differently about money and abundance, when you begin to carry yourself with more confidence and worthiness, not everyone in your life will understand or support this change. Family members might make comments about you getting too big for your britches or becoming money hungry. Friends might feel uncomfortable when you start talking about financial goals or abundance with enthusiasm instead of the familiar complaints about never having enough. Coworkers might react strangely when you stop participating in conversations about how broke everyone is or how unfair the economic system is. This pushback happens because your change in energy and beliefs creates a mirror for others to see their own limiting beliefs. When you stop agreeing that money is hard to come by or that financial struggle is just the way life is, you're inadvertently challenging the belief systems of people around you. They might feel threatened by your transformation, not because they want you to struggle, but because your growth highlights areas where they feel stuck. The people closest to you might be the most resistant to your changes. This can feel heartbreaking, especially when you're excited about your new way of thinking and want to share it with those you love. Your family members might unconsciously try to pull you back into old patterns because those patterns feel familiar and safe to them. They might make jokes about your new money obsession or remind you of past financial mistakes. During these moments, it's crucial to stay centered in your new truth without becoming defensive or trying to convince others to change their thinking. Your job is not to convert anyone else to your new way of thinking about money. Your job is to stay committed to your own transformation and to love others where they are, even when they can't understand where you're going. Sometimes external financial challenges will arise just as you're beginning to shift your thinking. You might lose a job, face an unexpected expense, or encounter some other financial setback right when you're working on believing in abundance. This can feel like the universe is testing your commitment to your new thoughts, and in a way, it is. These challenges are opportunities to practice staying centered in your new beliefs, even when external circumstances seem to contradict them. When financial challenges arise during your transformation, resist the temptation to use them as evidence that your new way of thinking isn't working. Instead, see them as opportunities to demonstrate to yourself and the universe that your worth and your beliefs about abundance aren't dependent on external circumstances. This is when your new thought becomes most powerful, when you can hold it steady even in the face of temporary challenges. Creating boundaries around your new beliefs might become necessary. You might need to limit conversations about money with certain people or gently change the subject when discussions turn to financial lack and limitation. You don't need to explain or justify your new way of thinking to anyone. You can simply say something like, "I'm choosing to focus on solutions and possibilities," and redirect the conversation. Finding supportive community becomes incredibly important during this phase of transformation. Seek out people who share your commitment to growth and abundance thinking. This might mean joining online communities, reading books by authors who support your new beliefs, or finding a mentor who embodies the kind of relationship with money you want to develop. Surrounding yourself with people who normalize abundance thinking helps counteract the pushback you might receive elsewhere. The key is to stay gentle with everyone, including yourself, during this process. People's reactions to your changes usually have very little to do with you and everything to do with their own fears and limitations. Keep your heart open and your boundaries clear. You can love people without adopting their limiting beliefs, and you can stay committed to your growth without needing their approval or understanding. As you continue practicing your new thought about money, you'll begin to notice subtle but significant signs that this new way of thinking is taking root in your consciousness. These signs often appear long before you see dramatic changes in your bank account, and recognizing them helps you stay encouraged and committed to the process. One of the first things you might notice is a shift in your physical experience when you think about money. Where you once felt tension, anxiety, or contraction, you might begin to feel more relaxed and open. Your breathing might become deeper when financial topics come up. Your shoulders might feel less tense when you pay bills or check your bank balance. These physical changes are profound indicators that your nervous system is beginning to believe your new thought. Your emotional relationship with money will also begin to shift. You might find yourself feeling more curious than fearful about financial opportunities. Instead of immediately thinking about what could go wrong with a new income possibility, you might find yourself wondering what could go right. You might feel more excited than overwhelmed when thinking about your financial goals. These emotional shifts are your inner world rearranging itself to match your new beliefs. You'll likely notice changes in your daily choices and behaviors around money. Perhaps you find yourself spending a little more freely on things that bring you joy, not from a place of recklessness, but from a place of trust that you deserve good things. Maybe you start having conversations about money that feel more empowered and less victimized. You might notice yourself researching investment opportunities or business ideas that previously felt too risky or too good for someone like you. Opportunities often begin to show up in unexpected ways. Someone might mention a job opening that's perfect for your skills, or you might learn about an investment opportunity through a casual conversation. Money might come to you from forgotten sources, like an old savings account or a refund you weren't expecting. These experiences might seem like coincidences, but they're actually your new energy attracting circumstances that match your upgraded beliefs. Your relationships with other people around money topics will likely improve. You might find yourself having more honest conversations about finances with your partner or family members. You might feel more comfortable setting financial boundaries or asking for what you're worth in business situations. Other people might begin to see you as someone who's good with money or who has wise financial insights, even if your external circumstances haven't dramatically changed yet. Sleep often improves as financial anxiety decreases. You might find yourself worrying less about money late at night or waking up feeling more optimistic about your financial future. Your dreams might even begin to reflect more abundant scenarios. These changes in your sleep and dream life indicate that your subconscious mind is integrating your new beliefs. The way you talk about money, both to yourself and others, will naturally evolve. You might catch yourself using more abundant language without even trying. Instead of saying, "I can't afford that," you might find yourself saying, "I'm choosing to spend my money differently right now." Instead of, "I never have enough," you might hear yourself saying, "I'm managing my resources wisely." Perhaps most importantly, you'll begin to feel a sense of trust in your ability to create and manage money. This trust might start small, but it grows with each day you practice your new thought. You'll begin to believe that you can figure out financial challenges as they arise, that you have the capacity to learn and grow in your relationship with money, and that abundance is actually your natural state rather than something you have to struggle to achieve. When your new thought about money becomes your dominant mental pattern, your entire approach to financial decisions and life choices begins to shift. You're no longer making choices from fear and scarcity, but from trust and possibility. This fundamental change in your operating system creates a completely different life experience. Decision-making becomes clearer and more aligned with your authentic desires. When considering a purchase, an investment, or a career move, you're asking yourself different questions. Instead of, "What if this doesn't work out?" you're asking, "What would I choose if I trusted my ability to create abundance?" Instead of, "I can't take this risk," you're thinking, "What would make this feel like a wise and empowered choice?" Your relationship with spending transforms from one of guilt and anxiety to one of consciousness and joy. You begin to see money as energy that's meant to flow, not to be hoarded out of fear. You make purchases that align with your values and support your well-being, and you do so without the heavy emotional charge that used to accompany financial decisions. You can spend money on yourself without feeling guilty, and you can also choose not to spend without feeling deprived. Career decisions start coming from a place of empowerment rather than desperation. You might find yourself negotiating salary with confidence, pursuing opportunities that truly excite you rather than just settling for security, or even starting your own business because you trust your ability to create success. You're no longer willing to accept work situations that undervalue your contributions because you know your worth isn't negotiable. Your generosity flows more naturally. When you trust that abundance is your natural state, giving becomes joyful rather than fearful. You can contribute to causes you care about, help family members in need, or pick up the check at dinner without the old anxiety about whether you'll have enough left over. This generous spirit often creates a beautiful cycle where abundance flows back to you in unexpected ways. Financial planning becomes an exciting creative exercise rather than a stressful obligation. You can look at your financial goals and dreams with enthusiasm because you believe they're possible. You might start investing, saving for goals that previously felt impossible, or simply organizing your finances from a place of care rather than avoidance. Money management becomes an act of self-love rather than a necessary evil. Your energy around money becomes magnetic in the most natural way. People are drawn to work with you, buy from you, or recommend you for opportunities because you carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. You're not desperate or pushy about money, but you're also not apologetic about receiving it. This balanced energy creates space for abundance to flow to you easily. You begin to see money as a tool for creating the life you truly want, rather than as a source of stress or identity. Your self-worth isn't tied to your net worth, but you also don't apologize for wanting financial comfort and security. You can be spiritual and wealthy, kind and successful, generous and prosperous. You understand that having money allows you to be more of who you truly are rather than less. The ripple effects of this transformation extend far beyond your bank account. Your children, if you have them, grow up seeing a healthy relationship with money modeled. Your friends and family members begin to feel safer exploring their own abundance blocks because you've shown them it's possible to change. You become a living example that our thoughts really do create our reality, and that it's never too late to choose a different story. Living from your new money truth means trusting the process even when you can't see the entire path ahead. You take inspired action when opportunities arise, and you rest peacefully when it's time to be patient. You know that your consistent thoughts of abundance are always working on your behalf, even when you can't see immediate evidence of their effects. As we come to the end of our time together today, I want you to feel the profound truth of what we've explored. You have within you everything you need to transform your relationship with money and abundance. The power to change your financial reality has never been outside of you. It has always been within your own consciousness, waiting for you to claim it. What we've discovered together is that abundance isn't something you have to earn through struggle or prove you deserve through suffering. Abundance is your birthright, your natural state of being. The universe is infinitely abundant, and you are an expression of that universe. When you align your thoughts with this truth, when you consistently choose to think from abundance rather than lack, you become a magnet for all the good that life has to offer. The one thought shift we've explored today isn't just about money, though money might be how it shows up first in your life. This shift is about remembering who you truly are. You are a magnificent being capable of creating beauty and abundance in every area of your life. When you truly believe this, when you let this truth sink into every cell of your body, your entire world begins to reflect this belief back to you. Your new thought about money is like a seed you're planting in the fertile soil of your consciousness. With daily watering through repetition, with the sunshine of your belief, and with the patience to trust the natural growth process, this seed will bloom into a beautiful tree of abundance that will provide shade and nourishment for you and everyone whose life you touch. There will be days when this new way of thinking feels natural and easy, and there will be days when you have to consciously choose it over old patterns. Both experiences are part of the journey. What matters is that you keep choosing, keep believing, keep aligning yourself with the truth of your inherent worthiness and the abundant nature of the universe. The world needs people who understand their worth and who aren't afraid to prosper. When you step into financial abundance, you're not taking anything away from anyone else. You're demonstrating what's possible. You're creating jobs, supporting businesses, contributing to causes you care about, and modeling for the next generation that it's safe and good to thrive. Your willingness to examine your money beliefs and consciously choose new ones is an act of courage and self-love. You're not just changing your own life, you're contributing to the healing of generations of financial trauma and limitation. You're proving that it's possible to break free from inherited patterns and create something entirely new. Trust yourself in this process. Trust that you have the wisdom to know which thoughts serve you and which ones keep you small. Trust that abundance wants to flow to you just as naturally as water flows downhill. Trust that you are worthy of every good thing you desire and that your desires themselves are evidence that these good things are possible for you. The moment you truly accept that you are worthy of abundance, that moment becomes the turning point of your entire financial story. From that moment forward, every choice you make, every opportunity you notice, every action you take will be infused with the energy of someone who knows their worth and expects good things to come to them. Your new thought about money is more than just words you repeat to yourself. It's a declaration of your commitment to living as the abundant being you were created to be. It's your agreement with the universe that you're ready to receive all the good that has been waiting for you. It's your loving gift to yourself and to everyone whose life is touched by your presence. Take this new thought with you into your days ahead. Let it be the first thing you think when you wake and the last thing you think before you sleep. Let it guide your choices, inform your decisions, and remind you of your true nature when old fears try to reassert themselves. You have everything within you to create the abundant, joyful, prosperous life you dream of. The only question now is, are you ready to fully claim it? The universe is conspiring in your favor. Abundance is your birthright, and your time is now. Go forward with confidence, knowing that every step you take from this new consciousness is a step toward the magnificent life that awaits you.